your name we pray. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, everybody, for coming. We appreciate it. Glad to see you all out here. First thing is, at this time, any person with business before the court not scheduled on the agenda may speak to the court. No formal action to be taken on these items at this meeting. Each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes. No takers? Okay. Yes, ma'am. If it's on a specific agenda item, you can wait and speak then.
It's not.
Okay.
I'm Angela Smith, the business owner and resident of Hermely. Mr. Robinson, do you have office hours? Can the county not afford an answering machine for you, since it seems you're never there, as my husband has tried contacting your office for the last 2 years regarding the terrible conditions of our county road 4153. I'd say it's disappointing for the ones that voted for you to find out that you're not an advocate for our Hermely community, but a yes man and a detriment instead. I'd like to remind each of you that you are out visiting the community, that you are a public servant and you're addressing taxpayers and voters, and your current terms are only 4 years. I'm all for the progress and understand the need and for the state compliance for our community and health as far as the water is concerned. I just ask that the majority that live below poverty level in Hermely and the elderly living on a fixed income are given a notice without considered the original rate to be enough challenge, be given a notice with enough to be able to get their budget in order. Commissioner McCowan, I'd like to thank you for your support for not going along with the greater majority and while looking out for our small community. We do appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm Lisa Ramish, and I will need to speak with you after concerning the invoice on the maps. Need to speak with you on how that was handled, because you spoke with Kevin about 2 weeks ago over that, and he told you how that needed to be handled, and then you went another direction.
Okay, we'll speak after the meeting.
So we have the invoice, and we need to get that settled.
Okay. All right, court to discuss and consider inter-precinct projects. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see it.
It's my understanding that the county water board is made up of the 4 commissioners.
Yes, sir.
And you, okay. Why don't we have a water paying customer from Hermely and Ira and Snyder on that commission?
Okay,
I know you
well,
can't
we
answer questions.
can't answer questions right now,
But
we're going to get into Hermely Waterworks here in a little while.
yeah, but it would just seem to me that it'd be a good idea, people that actually pay the water bills in these communities, to have a say in what the water commission decides.
Okay, thank you for your comments. Yes, sir.
Judge,
Hi, I'm back in the community because my father passed away in the fall. My name is Richard Black, by the way. My mother lives in Hermely. I don't live in the community, but I've kind of seen what's going on from afar. And I'd like to say, when my dad passed away, we had to call the ambulance. There were no signs in Hermely. The ambulance had to stop on the main road down at another house to find out where my parents lived, despite the fact that it had the number on the sign. That was really disturbing. So I noticed that the signs are going up with Hermely signs on the streets, but that needs to be done on every single street in Hermely, because I don't want that happening to somebody else, even 5 minutes. So thank you.
I'm President Richard Price. Ambulance stopped out in my house, and I had to direct him down to Bobby Lack's house when he passed away. The signs are inadequate out there, along with the water department. And just the other day, actually 3 days ago, pest control was out there looking for their house. They came to my house, looking for the right direction. I just point them out where they go. I'll be quiet for now, but
Thank you.
Judge, I'd like to speak in
reference to the LGC?
Well, the LGC is on the agenda.
Is it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I have to wait till that appears.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Forward.
I want to address the Hermley Waterworks right now.
Well, our Hermley Waterworks is on the agenda, so.
Well, I filled out the sheet, so I'll do it later then.
Anything else? Okay, court to discuss and consider interprecinct project schedule and staffing. There's one thing I wanted to talk to y'all about. There is, $1,375 from Tceq for safety equipment. And we don't have a lot of time to move. It's gotta be by July 1st. And I just found out the other day, was reminded about this the other day, but,
I
There's
actually
road
forwarded that
bridge.
email to everybody back over a month ago.
so, how do y'all wanna handle this? Do you wanna move forward on doing something like that?
And I have that
Yeah.
up on my computer, and
Okay.
I've told the guys last year that I would be glad to order them whatever they wanted for their part, and I'll be glad to do it again this year.
However y'all wanna handle that.
Just let me know.
Money on the table.
We did get about the same amount last year. So, I mean, this is money that TAC's given us for road and bridge. The, Trey also gets money for the sheriff's office and jail, to get that supplies and everything. So definitely use it, because I don't know if you don't use it, if they're gonna continue giving it to us.
That was just something that, it's a ready kit. It's right there, it's ready to go. You could order 20 of those and there's $25 left over. There was something, however y'all wanna handle it. You wanna take a
Got
lead on
gloves and
that?
glasses and whatever they wanted last year,
Yeah, we've got everything,
but I'll be glad to do it,
but I mean,
whatever you're looking for.
yeah, but I mean,
They
tax
have-
can quit giving us, money if we refuse it, so.
That's what it is.
Yeah, well, we used it last year, so we'll
Do it again.
be glad to.
All right, good man. What else do you have?
We're just
I think-
mowing and road.
Yeah, that's what we're doing, working every day, trying to get it done.
Yeah.
Rain like natural.
Yeah.
We got to get on.
Okay. All right, Barry Jordan has, we're gonna fit this into this because it kind of fits into interprecinct projects, so. Okay. Mr. Jordan.
All right, I'll get y'all a copy of this, and I'm gonna read through it so that the people that are attending will understand what it is and what's being discussed. I've already given the paper one.
Okay.
Now, I brought this up last night at the city commission meeting because they're considering adding a water fee, which severely impacts, as people say out here, the poor. In Snyder ISD, a third of the kids are on free or reduced lunches. And then we have the elderly that are on fixed incomes. Some are not. Snyder has a lot of people that are making over 60,000 a year, 80,000 a year working at places like Kinder Morgan. But then they have the other side, which are not making that much money. So they can either saddle us with taxes, they can saddle us with fees, or we can do something like grants. Now, coming up with a deadline of July the 15th is the build discretionary grants, building, utilizing investments, better utilizing investments to leverage development. And the concept would be for the county, which needs roads, bridge repair, and apparently signage as well, to aid the citizens. City needs roads repaired, built, and resurfaced. Okay, for fiscal year 2019, build transportation grants are for investments in surface transportation infrastructure, which is needed in county and city, and will be awarded on a competitive basis to projects that will have a significant local or regional impact. Build funding can support roads, bridges, transit, rail, ports, etc. To reflect the administration's ongoing effort to rebalance post-underinvestment in rural America, DOT intends to award up to 50% of build transportation grant funding to projects located in rural areas aligned well with the selection criteria. A rural area is an area that has under 200,000 people. So that covers our county and the surrounding counties as well. The fiscal year 2019 GO program selection criteria gives special consideration to projects that emphasize improved access to reliable, safe, and affordable transportation for communities in rural areas. This includes projects that improve infrastructure condition, address public health and safety, promote regional connectivity, and facilitate economic growth or competitiveness. It also would include inclusivity, which under this would mean the people of lower income. So there is up to $450 million available across the U.S. and its territories for distribution of rural projects. Now that's going to be split up. We can't get $450 million. But the selection criteria include safety, economic competitiveness, quality of life, state of good repair, innovation, and partnerships with a broad range of stakeholders. Now, for those of you that have this printed up, which everything in standard text came directly from the grant document page. The italics is my commentary. So the interlocal agreement is where we can work together, or a concept of that. Terry Williams told me that that doesn't quite cover this, but it can be modified. But there's that concept of moving forward with something that we all work together here in the county to do this. Okay, so for fire, EMS, as people were talking here, police, using our roads without them in a good state of repair, there's trouble. They can't get there where they need to go. These services could be delayed, as was talked about back here involving signs, or not reliably delivered in a timely manner. So there's one of our clinchers to use to move forward with this. The deadline to submit the application is July 15th, 2019. So there's not much time to get it done to move forward. Now, within the notice for funding opportunity, the maximum grant award is $25 million, with no more than $90 million can be awarded to a single state, as specified in the fiscal year 2019 Appropriations Act. San Angelo is going for that to redo College Hills Boulevard, rather than waiting until their budget's got the money to do it. So they're a rural area as well. So that is one place I know of that would be competition. But then again, I think we can make a really good case. Eligible applicants for bill transportation grants are state, local, and tribal governments, including territories, transit agencies, port authorities, metropolitan planning organizations, and other political subdivisions of state and local governments. For a project in a rural area, the minimum award is $1 million. So if you're awarded anything, it would be a minimum of $1 million, which would help with something. And the secretary may increase the federal share above 80% cost in a rural area. So you have cost matching with this grant of 20%. However, 20% could be using our workers to do certain projects on the grant, could be the use of the facilities for storage of material, could be land on which something is placed. You know, there's other ways to make matching than putting cash in. Plus, get $10 million and it's going to cost you $2 million or almost $2 million. That's still a better investment than taxing or feeding people for $10 million. Eligible projects for build transportation grants or surface transportation capital projects that include but are not limited to highway, bridge, or other road projects eligible under Title 23. Assess whether and to what extent the project consistent with relevant plans to maintain transportation facilities or systems in a state of good repair. So that would be road maintenance. We are a rural, poor county, accepting those people that have really good jobs. And funds must be obligated sufficiently in advance of the statutory deadline of September 30th, 2021. So there's 2 years to spend it out, rather than having it all be done immediately or within a year. So if the commission has any questions about that, now I have not read the full 46 notice of funding page, notice of funding opportunity, because I pulled it all up yesterday afternoon. So we had a narrow window of time, a 3-hour commission meeting last night, and then get ready for today. So, but I do have some information up here if you have any questions.
All right, Brian.
Yes. Was the city able to respond, or was it just your?
Tony and Merrill were talking about it last night when I left.
Okay.
But they are excited about it. They are, so I'm talking to Merrill at Lions today at lunch, if he shows up at lunch.
Right. Okay. I like grants too, especially if it saves money. So.
You're not ever gonna know until you put in for it.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, and this is a yearly grant. So if you get back to review that there's weak areas, just put it back together and do it again the next year.
And you have said that you will write the grant.
I would do the grant. I have another resource to work with, another PhD to work with me on putting this together. However, I just can't do it for free. I've done a lot for the city and the area in the last several years. It's just I need to get something.
Is there money within the grant to pay for administrator?
There would be money in the grant to pay for the grant administration, which I have $4.3 million grant I finished up at the college. So I have the experience to do that, and I'd be willing to administer the grant, to make sure that all the deadlines were met, that everything was reported properly, which I've got excellent reviews on all of the yearly outside external audits I did at the college.
So really, the grant will pay you, so it's not the taxpayer that's gonna be paying
No,
for
the
the grant writer.
grant would pay for me, to administer the grant,
Perfect. Not to write it though.
not to write it. No, that's the other thing.
And so,
I understand the county's getting back a little bit of money from the end of the year, so there's some money available possibly.
What kind of fees are we looking at then?
For writing that, I'd have to get with my other consultant on that, which could be done this afternoon.
would those fees be payable only if the grant was awarded?
At this time, I'm not able to do that. No, but it would be something, it would definitely be reasonable. Whereas most people that do things, the different studies that are done, college did a study to figure out whether to close the nursing program. That was $50,000 down the drain to close a failing program because of other issues they had regarding that. So they could have actually made the decision without spending $50,000, but they spent $50,000 so they could feel justified in doing something. I blame it on that person that they paid $50,000. And that's my opinion. But there's other studies that have been done that people pay for something that was actually, in one sense, somewhat common knowledge, that were really expensive.
I would like to know what it would cost for you and your associate to do that.
I will let you know, I'll be able to let
Dan know.
yes, I'll let Dan know this afternoon.
Do that because,
He's out baling hay this morning.
Your associate is?
Yes, he's in Belmaray.
Okay.
because you're not gonna get it if you don't try.
That's right.
That's right. Thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate it. All right, is there anything else under interpreting project schedules and stuff?
Not from me.
All right, court to discuss and consider issues relating to the Scurry County Local Government Corporation, including requesting return of any and all remaining funds held by the corporation initially invested by Scurry County and the timeline therefore, future viability of the Scurry County Local Government Corporation, including A through E, discussion of dissolution of corporation, discussion of restructuring board of corporation, discussion and acceptance of resignations from board, acknowledgement of vacancies of the board, discussion of replacement directors for vacancy, and discussion of future funding of Scurry County Local Government Corporation, including the allocation or non-allocation of future county funds and assets thereto.
You speak up.
All right, so what's the discussion on the LGC?
Judge, I don't know if you want to go in order or what. I did give my resignation yesterday to the board. As far as the amount of the money, the corporation agreed that the county should receive back the money. They did leave $800 of that $48,000. It was at $48,807.71, I believe. They left $800 in there to keep the bank account open. They did nominate and vote on a person to take my place, which would be Mark McLean. We've had, I don't know how many people over the years say that the local taxing entities should get along and work together for this community. And this is a good way to do that without causing harm to the taxpayer. The local government court cannot tax, ad valorem tax, or take minerals of any kind from or to tax minerals that are in the ground. They have no way to do that. What they talked about yesterday was looking for grants, working together, trying to make our community a better community by that partnership. And so I would certainly ask the county court to leave the LGC in place. It's been established. The money's been paid out to the attorneys to establish it. And there could be some good come out of it in the future. And if it seems like it's going to turn bad, the county court can always dissolve it. But we might be able, by working together, actually accomplish something in this town. And they're actually want to follow the city plan that was created about 3 or 4 years ago, 5 or 6 years ago, actually. So I would ask the court to leave it in place for the time being.
I would like to see, oh, go ahead.
My idea on the thing is, and it's been for ever since 1916, when I first come to this court, sit right over there, that, I thought it has never been, I'm not saying there's anything illegal that they've done, but it never smelled right. When we come up here, it was on unproduced taxes of minerals, taxing unproduced minerals. I sit out there for an hour on the outside until they finally let us in. Come find out, well, it ain't got a thing to do with that. Y'all can go home. Well, or you can stay. Well, we stayed. And all we could get is, we can't tell you. We can't tell you. They won't let us talk. We can't tell you. We can't tell you. So it got off on the wrong foot. I'm not saying that anybody thought they'd do, there was plenty of people who thought it was illegal, but I've searched and asked plenty of folks. It was never illegal what they done. It might have been unethical, but it wasn't illegal. But doing away with that part, I suggest, if I had a talk this morning with a man, they're going to do it whether they use the shale or get them a new shale. They're going to do it. Well, I suggest that when we get out of it, which we're going to be out of it, we get out of it, and we also write, like I wrote in this deal, not a dime penny will come out of the county to go to it. That'll end us all every way, besides saying hello and trying to get along. And if they want to do what they can do and get their grants or whatever and do what they want to do, more power for them. Because I'm for anybody that wants to help Scurry County as a whole, whether it be the city, the schools, the hospital, whatever, that's fine. If that's their cup of tea, that's great. But I suggest to end my talk right here, I asked her, the guru, a jillion times, let's put this money back over here in the reserve that we get back. Let's put it back. Well, I asked her again yesterday, and she said, Greg, we can do that if the court wants to do that. But says it won't be long until we're having to pull it out. So my suggestion, if we're gonna have to pull out something that's been there since 1916, why put it back in a hole that you're gonna have to pull out in 30 days? You know, I can't believe that we've sat here and built a budget and we can't live by it. And that's all it sounds like to me. If we're running out of money or ain't got the money in, we built a budget that we're not sticking to. Why the heck did we waste your time, my time, the county's time and money of building one that we can't stay with?
Okay. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you.
The LGC has been a sore spot for a long time, as well it should have been. And I don't blame any taxpayer or anybody else for being upset, because it was $50,000 of the county's money, okay? Their money. And it should all, in my opinion, should all be returned to the county. And if somebody else wants to do this LGC, that's fine, but Scurry County does not need to do it. I've been in office since 17, and it's been along, well, this is gonna happen, this is gonna happen. Nothing has happened. We've paid the lawyers and all that, and I think it's unfair to the taxpayers. But I think all the money should be returned to the county, and if somebody else wants to take it, more power to them. It's my opinion.
You're right, LGC has been one of those things that, nobody really likes.
No.
And because, it's been secret, basically.
Very much so.
That was one of my concerns with it, was that it was secret. And so I did research on local government corporations, and it looked to me that what was being done with it, it was not what they were designed to do, what they were set up to do. US consuls came in and had people sign these non-disclosure agreements. Of course, when you do something like that, and you're talking about our funds, your funds, my tax dollars, your tax dollars, you shouldn't spend people's tax dollars on something that is what it's being spent on.
Right.
So,
As far as the non-disclosure, that makes it secret.
exactly.
I mean, it does.
Yeah.
And that's not fair.
The other question that's gonna come up though is if it is not dissolved, if it's left for the LGC board to do, is, from this point forward, if that aspect of it goes away, the secretive aspect of it goes away, is US Consul still gonna be involved in it? That's one of the questions that I've had come up. So
I wouldn't think so.
I wouldn't think so either, but
You never know.
we'd have to look at the contract.
Right.
So, we have a few folks that, wanted to speak on this, and Ms. Summers, raise your hand.
I'm just wondering if it's left as it is and it has $800 in the budget, the cost of applying for one grant could go well beyond that, then where do they get more money?
My understanding is that each of the other, entities would put in a matching amount to what the county's already got in there, so if we get,
We would have 2,000 in, if they give us the 48,000 back, we would have 2,000 put in.
Right.
And each of the other entities that are being asked to put in 2,000 each.
So it's just gonna keep getting money from the county.
not from the county, no, not from the county. Well, the county, they're talking about giving, what, 40,000 back, 48,000?
48,000.
48,000, so the county would have 2,000 into it. What's already been spent plus, I think, $807.71 just to keep the account open. And then the other entities would put in that matching amount of money. And that's what that would be their seed money to start. County would put no further money
If
into it.
I understood him,
Mhm.
just as soon as they get their bank account all worked out and all that, that $800 is coming back.
They left that open yesterday. They voted to give the 48,000 back to the county,
Right.
check back to the county, leaving the 807.71 in the bank account with, plans for, I guess, a future meeting, see if the other entities are gonna do it, see what we do today in court, and what the court is gonna require. If the court wants the other remaining money, then they would,
It's in my deal to get all the money.
isn't that what you understood, Terry?
Yes. The only comment I've made, and I still feel like it's right, and we can do whatever the court wants to, and we always do, whatever the majority decides. We've been asked and asked and asked to be partners with other taxing entities. It's gonna cost us $800 that's in the account to remain partners with them. If something they do get the grants, then we can partner back with them if it becomes a time that where it's not, I called it radioactive, and that's what it's been because of the secrecy. Grants will not, they won't be secret. You won't have to hold that back from the public. You can, just like we did this morning with Barry, you can absolutely share it all, like we're going to in just a little while with Lime. That is going to save us tons of money at both the jail and here in the courthouse, because we're going to change lights from fluorescent to LEDs. Don't we want to partner with other taxing entities to try to make this a better community? I mean, $800 seems to be a cheap way to do it. Or we can say, no, we're not interested. We want $800 back, do what you want to, and we still don't want to be a part of a group effort to make this a better place. That's.
You got it, me up on the get-go on this LGC.
Mhm.
Due to the secretive, you're gonna have to understand what everybody's doing enough.
And just like I said to one of my constituents, the only one that's even talked to me about LGC and thinking it was bad, if the money had to start flowing in hundreds of thousands of dollars or whatever, there wouldn't be anybody unhappy because they didn't know why. But because it's went so long and it hasn't produced what it did produce, they did 2 tests, and it did bring a lot of that money back that had been spent to establish it. But if it had worked, everybody had been just happy as they could be because taxes would have gone down. It didn't work, and they were never able to produce the way that they thought they could. Not all the pieces of the puzzle. It took a long time to get all the pieces of the puzzle into place. I wanted to be on it to make sure it wasn't an illegal thing. And one of the most knowledgeable attorneys in this state on county government, Jim Allison, is the one that established this. And I wanted to know, Jim, is this legal to do this? And he's been not only a county attorney previously, but now the Judges and Commissioners Association attorney, and has been for years. And, I just have to take his word whenever he tells me that what we were doing was legal. And I just want to make sure it was. And that's the only reason I even wanted to be on the thing. But it does have a bad taste in everyone's mouth because it didn't produce and it was secretive. And so that's gone away. It's not gonna be secretive anymore. It's gonna be something where you're coming together and trying as taxing units in this county, working together to formulate a plan, following the city plan right now, to try to make this a better community. And if we're gonna be on the outside, then we're not a part of that. And that's kind of sad that we don't want to be because of the stigma of it. And I told them, right now, there's no way I want to be on this board, because there are people, not just in my precinct, but in a lot of other precincts, that have that bad taste in their mouth. But if we don't dissolve it and we do remain a partner of sorts, then at some point in the future, if they start getting grant money in and we're still a part of it, then we can maybe be a board member again, if that is what the community wants. I was elected by my precinct, and whatever my precinct wants is what I want to do. That's what I've always done. And so if we can make that work, okay. And if we can't, then we'll do whatever the majority wants to do.
Well, I'm all about Scurry County, always have been, always will be. I would, like I said, see 48,000 returned to the county. But if we leave the 800 in there, I would like to see a timeline put on it. Because, we've been doing this for 5 years, 6, or not we, but LGC. And if it goes another year with no action of any kind, it should be dissolved. And that's my opinion.
It's not doing anything.
Because if it's not gonna work, do away with it. Because right now, we've got 5, 6 years of it not working pretty much.
Right.
And do the secrecy, and then people out there, along with me, wonder, how come?
Yeah.
And I can't answer why not. But that would be one way, if you put a timeline on it, but have the money returned to the county. And whatever timeline this court chooses to put on it, I'm not gonna cut our nose off to spite our face, but by the same token, we've got to sooner or later call CAFRO when it doesn't work.
I agree.
So,
Can I say, wouldn't it be more like $2,800 is what would be owed that?
Actually, the 48,000, there was 50,000 that was given to the corporation, 48,000 given back, so it'd be $2,000. 1,200 was spent for attorney fees and other things, so 800 is still there, so it'd be 2,000.
So the 800 is, they would owe you back $2,000.
They'd owe us back $800. That's what's left. That's what the corporation agreed to yesterday, was to give back the 48,000 and asked if we would partner with them. They would also put in each 2,000 apiece, and they're not looking to spend that money. Is what they're saying. We don't want to use tax dollars. We want to use grants. That's what they're exactly what they said. And so we've got some pretty smart people on there, and I think that they've gotten grants before. I think they can again. I'm like, I feel like that it wouldn't be bad to put a timeline on it, Sean, and I don't have any problem with that whatsoever.
And I think what needs to be clarified is what this lady asked, the $2,000. The reason that we won't put, the county won't put any more money, because we spent the money, we've already spent the money.
Right. That's right.
Okay.
Right.
For the lawyers, blah, blah, blah. And we won't
Well,
put-
we actually spent quite a bit more than that, but because of the tests that were done, worked,
Right.
it brought that money back up
Right.
to the 48,800.
Because like I said, we'll put a timeline on it, return the 48,000, whatever this court decides as far as a timeline, because
That's fair.
We've got some, did you have anything else, Ms. Hunt?
Yes, I do, on the 50,000, that was initially there, was that all from the county?
Yes, ma'am.
It was.
So the other entities didn't put in anything,
Correct,
but they're agreeing to going forward.
correct. Seed money, that $2,000 from each one. And I don't think I don't know if they intend to put any more in. I think we kind of sort of have a consensus without a vote. The county wouldn't put any more money in it. Taxpayer dollars.
Yeah, that, y'all kind of get me mixed up. Okay, if I understood last night, maybe I didn't, because I was back there in that corner. I thought they said each one of them was putting 800 in.
No, sir. No, that was a county's 800. They said they would put in 2,000 apiece to match what the county spent plus what was still the $800 that was there, so that everybody,
So actually, all we own is 800.
the $800 that was left in there yesterday, yes, sir.
That's what you're saying.
To make it a full 2,000 for every entity to be a part of it, yes, sir.
But the other entities, they will put in.
They're gonna put in 2,000 apiece.
We've already done it.
Out of 50,000, we'll get 48 back.
Our money's there already.
I bet Craig Barrett stand up when he's running illegal aliens. Back in
Mr.
82.
Price, we're not gonna disparage
Let
it.
him take care of the bill.
Do what?
We're not gonna disparage any commissioners. If you do, you're gonna be asked to leave.
I still wanna follow up on that, if all the other entities, that's like 5, that's $10,000, what if $10,000 is spent on trying to get grants and there's no money left?
That would be up to them, at that point.
It's
That'd
my
be up to
suggestion,
the board.
to my commissioner, that the LCG be done away with.
And it wouldn't be 10,000. The only entities that are on there are the hospital, the school, and the
City.
city.
Well, now Big Country's on there, and since Martin Plain,
They're not a taxing entity.
Right, and they're not necessarily he's not necessarily representing them, he's just a board member.
Yeah.
Did you have a comment? Anything else, board?
there's no saying, and I know everybody here has heard it, you can't be half pregnant. Well, this local government corporation, we have no representative on it. We don't know what they plan to do. We just hear, oh, it may be good things for our community, and it may not. They've had 6 months since these board members have been put on, the new ones for the college, and they resigned her, the school and all that, and they hadn't done a damn thing. So, I suggest we need to get, if they're gonna do their thing, we need to get completely out of it. We have no say, we have nobody on the board. And when we get out, if they wanna buy the local government corporation, let them send that $800 and something back to us to purchase the name and the rights to it and go on.
Morgan, that's a little bit wrong in that you don't know what they're going to do, because they're following the city plan that was put in place back about 5 or 6 years ago. So if you want to know what their intentions are going forward from this place, it would be go to the city and look at the plan.
Well, it's not just the city involved in it. though.
No, but
You've got the school
that's what they agreed to.
and the
though.
hospital.
Yeah, all three of them agreed that that's the plan they would follow.
And like I say, if it was such a good deal, you wouldn't have resigned if you thought it was such a good deal.
I
Other than
resigned.
probably scared you're gonna lose your place in office over there.
Well, that
You do another business.
my people asked me to get off the board.
Right.
That's who elected me. That's why I got
told
off.
you a year ago, you need to get off of it.
Well,
It's a bad deal.
I wanted to make sure, well, it could have been a good deal. It just turns out it was a good deal because it never came to fruition. But again, the people of this community have said 1,000 times, you guys need to start figuring out a different way to make this thing work than using taxpayer dollars. And
we hear it all pie in the sky, and that, it never has materialized.
I
So
know.
I say we get plumb out of the thing. Like I say, if they wanna carry on, let them have their merry way.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Mr. Madison?
I'm with Morgan. I think we need to get out of local government corporation. Two reasons, basically, the secretiveness. Number two is all the funding entities that you're talking about taking over this thing, all their money comes from the same place, our pockets. And everybody out here is fed up to here with paying. The milk cow's running dry. And we're tired of funding things that we don't need. That's about all I got to say.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to commend Terry Williams for his resignation off the board yesterday. I appreciate that, Terry. I think that's an honorable thing to do. I think that if he'd continue forward with his good efforts here, he would make a motion that the LGC be dissolved today without any more discussion about going forward. Who are going to be using taxpayer money to bring themselves into existence on a speculatory market. This might work and this may not work. You don't need to be using public money to speculate with. If you want to speculate, use your own money. Use yours, you know, you've got money, so do you. So I think that it'd be best just to let this thing go and try to get more closer to what the voters in this county really want and to listen to them. Judge.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay, the secrecy is one of those things that everybody's against with it. Another thing is common board members. Mark McLean, he's on the DCOS. So he's directing that, he's directing this. The DCOS has not done anything since Lavers left. If you hated Lavers, he still got things done. If you liked him, he still got things done. And he could tell you every day what he was working on, what he did, what didn't work, what he was working on. DCOS has not done anything for 14 months, as one of our constituents back there said last night at the city meeting. But the common thread is we don't have anybody, any of us, any of the common people on these boards like that. Here we do, they're elected. In the city, we do. There's not anybody elected for the DCOS board. There's not anybody elected for the other thing. You know, now it could be an appointment, but the thing should be a different type of appointment than one person appointing people to that board. It should be by more of a consensus with some citizens input.
That's possible. There are 2 openings on that board.
I volunteer.
You volunteer?
I volunteer.
Oh, my. They'll be glad to hear that.
Anybody else want to volunteer to be on the LGC board if we go forward with it?
There's somebody back there that'd like to nominate.
I wouldn't want to be.
But if it was given time, like Commissioner McCowan said, if it was given more time, a year, to see what they would do, is there anybody else that would want to volunteer to be on that board? Okay. I just wanted to throw that out there, you know, just in case.
Me, for one, I'm against these 3 entities taking my tax dollars to put their money in, that's at $2,000 there.
Mhm.
I don't have no say-so on it.
Okay.
And I'm tired of this.
Okay. And I explained my position earlier on it, and it was something that, sir?
I said, amen. Yeah.
Okay. So, where do y'all stand?
Yeah, I like to make a motion.
Okay.
Ready to go on.
All right,
Judge,
Y'all ready to go home?
go on. Go ahead.
Judge, I'd like to make a motion that, if we get out, the county gets out of the DCOS, I mean, LEC, and, we get our money back whenever we can. And, if you wanna go by, now, everybody here hadn't voiced their opinion, but a lot of them have. And I know how most has felt before right now. It's kind of going back and forth, but I make a motion that we get out of it, get our money back. It's also wrote in this deal right here that we won't put a penny in it no more. That away, we're done with it. And this kind of deal, the next time we come in here, hopefully we'll have people that's happy, wanting to contribute and listen to us on things that, and I don't think that just because we get out of this, that we're meaning we can't work with the city and the other entities on things. I'm not cutting that off, for sure. I think it's a good thing. I wish them the best of luck. I hope they do well.
Sure. So are you saying not to dissolve it, but to let them do their own thing?
They can have it.
Appoint,
Just get us away from it.
appoint Mark McLean and Dr. Barry Jordan onto the board?
I think that's what y'all are supposed to do, and why you're supposed to do it if you're not on it, I don't know, but now then, I don't know a lot about rules. So if it's okay with the rules to y'all appoint them, I ain't got no problem with that. I just feel sorry for them. So, you know, us as a county, we need out of it. You can tell this morning, we need out of it.
Are you wanting to give them a specific time frame as
No,
far as
Let's
what,
get out of it now.
are you saying dissolve it, or what are you?
I'm saying
He
the
said
county
return it.
get our money out of it, get away
He
from
wants
it,
it back.
and then they can have it. They can have the LTC.
Saying get all our money and dissolve it.
That's right, get our 800 back.
Not dissolve it.
And
Let them have it.
Let them deal with it.
Let them
and
deal
pull
with
the
it.
county
let
completely
them
out of
deal
it.
with it. Let them deal with it.
So we get to 48, 800 and.
That's right.
48, 807, 71.
Wish I could remember stuff like that.
Me too.
I know, me too.
Me too.
Go
That's
home,
why.
or go home.
Say what?
I don't know. Go ahead.
That's my motion.
I'm gonna say, I'm just gonna say this motion, get out of it.
Yeah.
Get all the money back. The people that put us here have voiced their opinion. And, that's, because, you know,
That's the way you feel?
yeah, it's the way I feel.
What about the board members that they're requesting?
The ones that you mentioned here today, as far as I can say, you know, they can be on here. You want to vote for them? Huh?
Do you, in that motion, do you want to?
I
appoint
guess,
them
yes,
on there?
yes. However you want to word it like that, yeah, just put them on there if that's what they want.
If we're out of it, we take it.
Well, the way the bylaws are written, we have oversight over the LGC. So it's either dissolve it or go the other direction, allow them to continue. So, we still have oversight. We don't have to have somebody on it, but we still have oversight over it. So,
We'll do it the right way.
You're
You're the lawyer.
I am not a lawyer. So, is your motion to dissolve it or to?
Dissolve it, dissolve it. Just- That's the easiest way, dissolve it. If they want to put them on there, then if we can't put them on there.
No, that if you dissolve it, they can't meet it all.
They can't meet it all, it's done.
I'm not saying dissolve the LE.
Yeah, right.
I'm not saying that.
Please, settle down.
I'm not saying to dissolve the
Okay,
LEC.
okay.
Craig, if you vote to if you motion to dissolve it and y'all vote to do that, I call the Texas Comptroller's office after we leave the meeting and I submit all of the paperwork needed to dissolve the corporation. If they formed another one, they have to form it under special
I
laws.
understand that from yesterday.
He's not
So
saying,
let them have it.
Yeah.
Fine. Don't dissolve the
The county will
LEC.
still have oversight over it.
Okay,
Be
that'd be
involved.
fine.
can we vote to?
That'd be fine, as long as we ain't got nothing to do with it, other than have oversight.
Right.
If that's the way it has to be.
Change.
But I I don't want the county to put any more than their way.
Okay,
No money.
so your motion is to, full county, no board, nobody from this commission be on board. We don't put any more funds into it.
Right.
We get our $48,817, $7.71, whatever it is back. And appoint these two gentlemen to be on board.
If we got the authority to do it, yeah, want the two
We do.
men and let
I
them
don't think that's what
do it.
Okay.
Is there a second?
You already got a second from Sean.
No.
Oh, you don't have?
No.
Okay. I'll second it.
Second.
Terry second. No timeline on that? Just to continue.
The time, yeah. We're out of it. and
Yeah.
just we do it.
All right, all in favor? All opposed?
Okay, can you clarify the motion and what is just voted
Okay.
on now? Because I can't hear with all of the
Right,
noise.
okay. We are not dissolving. The motion was to, pull the county funds, all of the funds. No member of the commissioners court will be on the LDC. Appointing the two, Dr. Berry, or Dr. Jordan and, Mark McLean. Was there anything else in that motion? And allow the LDC to continue without the county, but with oversight, county oversight.
And I will state, and the reason that Judge Armstrong even approved previously with the LGC is because anything that has to do with county, I have to make sure is legal. And, well, oversight, even if there is no funds, I still have to make sure if the county has oversight, then I have to be aware of the activities going on and justify that they are legal activities.
Absolutely.
So.
Yeah, we will still have oversight. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and ask the gentleman from the line to come up and discuss what they're proposing. Sure. Can we pass those up? Sure.
What was the vote on that? Who voted for and who voted against? I remember.
It was 4-1.
No, it was 3-2.
3-1. I understand.
Three, 1-1.
3-1.
3-4, 1 against, and 1 abstain.
Oh, well,
I didn't pass them down.
you bet. Who did I miss?
Yeah.
You get out of the and the auditor got one right.
You need another some copies?
No, I have everything on my iPad, so I'll just. Expensive to do color copies.
Yes, it is.
Taxpayer some money.
Okay, well, I guess first, how detailed, high level would you like me to? I don't want to take up too, more time than allotted.
Well, first of all, guys, this is Daniel Ginn from Lime, which is working with Encore. This is something that we did for our county, probably in 2007 or 8, where I found a grant from Encore to be able to replace the T12 lights in our courthouse with T8s. And that saved us half the maintenance budget, somewhere close to that the first year, and then has saved us ever since because of the less wattage. We went, instead of 4 light fixtures, we went to 2 light fixtures. And the thing of it is the LED market has now matured, and LEDs have an extended life above fluorescent, which is about 20-25 years. And so Lion is a partner with Encore. And as Daniel will tell you in just a little bit, Encore has agreed to pay for about 42% of the cost to replace all the lamps in both the law enforcement center and the courthouse, starting out. We're going to try to go forward with that throughout the county. The more we do, the more we're going to save. The beauty of it is, as Daniel will tell you in just a few minutes, is that it's not going to cost anything except because of savings from the difference in the electricity load is going to pay for it. They're going to put a meter on the courthouse and on the law enforcement center, and so that money will come out of that budget according to their meter and pay for that. Then we'll reap those savings going forward after that period of time for 20, 25 years, unless there's a greater technology that comes out at the time. So if you see somebody that represents Encore, give them some kudos, because they are blessing our community. We're going to save a lot of money, and Daniel's going to tell you all about that, give you the details. So I think the biggest thing is that they want to know how much money we're going to save.
Okay. Of course. Well, thank you all very much for having us. As Terry said, my name is Daniel again. This is Danny Fitzpatrick. We're with Lime Energy, but we have been contracted out exclusively by Encore to run this program. They're the local electric company, for those that don't know. They started a program specifically for their small business customers as well as municipalities, things like that, to help them, one, just look at their facilities, see how efficient or inefficient they are, how much they would save if they did an upgrade, and then, as Terry said, they actually helped fund the project. So Danny and I, we did a preliminary audits just to see what the savings would be. As he said, you all participated. I guess it's been about a little over 10 years ago. Let me start by asking this question. Is everyone familiar with LEDs? Is it, they have, okay, well, so basically the idea is we're installing newer technology that it uses 50 to 75% less. It lasts probably 3 to 4 times longer. Like Terry said, you're looking at about 20 to 25 years of life. So, I believe there's electricians that you have to pay to change the bulbs out in both facilities, as well as, just the material themselves. There's bulbs and ballasts that cost money as they go out. So there's substantial savings from just energy usage, maintenance, and then, you're not going to have to continue to change them over the years. So I guess we'll, so stepping back a little bit. So we had talked about if there was funds to pay for the project, because there still is a partial cost, but talking with the judge and Terry, I know that's not available. So the second option would be to take out a loan. And the idea is you break the cost up over a certain number of years, and then the savings help to pay that loan cost, but also talking with them, they figured that the tax base was, that wouldn't be an option that you all would want to do. So the third, which Terry had alluded to, it's a really, really cool program. It's called SAVE. And like he said, the idea is that Lime Energy, our company, we cover the entire cost of the project up front. So you all the county doesn't have to pay anything. And then just over a specified period of time, we take the savings that you get to cover that cost. During that time, if there's any issues, we take care of that, pay for maintenance. There shouldn't be any, but if there's failed fixtures, etc., we'll take care of that. And then at the end of that period, the county gets the lights free and clear, and all of those savings will come directly to the county. So, and as Terry said, we'll put meters on all of the buildings as well, so we know exactly what the savings are. Another plus of the program is that if for whatever reason the estimated savings are less, at 42 months, we stop charging you and the lights are yours. And so if it's, again, if we underestimate the savings, we just eat the extra cost essentially. Also vice versa, Terry had asked this, what happens if the savings are more? You'll actually pay off the project earlier. So these specific proposals are for 42 months. So, looking at about 3.5 years. And if, let's say in 38 months, the whole project is paid for, then the lights are yours at that moment. So I think that'd be a great option. Again, I can't say you're getting lights for free, but essentially you are, whether you do it or not, the amount of money that the county will pay for electricity will be the same. And an easy way to look at it is instead of paying Encore, however, or a certain amount of money, it'll come to Lime Energy. So I think that's probably enough detail. As far as the numbers, if you, I broke this into two projects, as Terry said. We looked at the courthouse as well as the jail. The jail, because it's running 24/7, is a tremendous opportunity to do an upgrade. For the courthouse, I believe it was about, I might actually look on with yours and I'll kind of, that'll be a little easier. So as far as the courthouse is concerned, it's, okay. Should I get into what we're going to be installing and some things like that, or just?
Let's do that
jump
after.
After, okay. Gotcha. So as far as the numbers, you can see about $4,000 a year of savings just from the courthouse. Encore would cover 32% of this project, which comes to $10,000. And yeah, it's just that the first page. So your total cost would be about $22,000. But again, you don't have to pay that money up front, and then after the 42 months, that's savings that the county would get. If you go, so we'll jump to, unfortunately, there's not really page numbers. About halfway through, it goes to the jail. Yeah, right there. Yeah, next page. So for the jail, because it's running 24/7, you'll actually see almost $29,000 of savings per year. So a tremendous opportunity for savings. And the way Encore allocates funds is all based on how much energy is reduced, and then also the hours of operation. So because the jail's going 24/7, they're going to cover 45% of the project cost, which equates to $41,500. So a really good chunk of money going towards that, and total cost would be $75,000. But again, I mean, you're taking the savings that you're going to be seeing will be going towards the cost of the project. Now, the 42 months, again, the term, that's mixing the two kind of together. The payback for the courthouse is actually longer than 42 months. But we were able to get that down to 42 months by kind of picking back off the jail and using some of those savings. I mean, so that's, I guess, really it. And again, I mean, so that's, you're talking about over $30,000 a year that will be going into the county's money, the county's pocket once this is paid for after 3.5 years. And from what we typically work on, anything under 5 years as far as the payback, meaning how long it takes to pay for the project, is a great project. So 3.5 years, $30,000 of savings, and not having to pay, any money up front. It's, I think it would really benefit y'all. So.
Were you able to twist Encore's arm?
A little bit. I actually found out that when in the initial calculations, you get a little extra just being a county. Yes, sir.
So why can't we change out the bulbs here in the courthouse right here and save a whole lot of money?
That's, sorry, I should have, that is what we're gonna be doing. There's gonna be
No,
two.
the people. Why couldn't we just go out and buy the light bulbs and everything and just save the money and y'all do it?
I mean, you could, but if you look at the time and also the cost, you can't, the way the program gets, is created, that we have to manage the whole process. There's a lot of paperwork that goes into getting the,
You gotta get contract to change out a light bulb?
It's more than just changing out the bulbs.
Yeah.
It's changing out.
And with,
You have to have an electrician that can do it.
and the meter situation, to be able to do, actually, do it at no cost, there's a whole technical team that has to do that. It's not as easy as just having an electrician come and,
You
put
also
those
have
meters
to
on.
package all of the fluorescent lamps and ballasts that have mercury in them and send them to a facility.
There's recycling. We handle getting all the material. You're talking about over 3,000 fixtures for this entire thing. So, I mean, you can't just go to Home Depot and, get, all those fixtures, things like that.
If you have your own
So,
people do it, you don't get the incentive from Encore either.
Right.
The incentive is about 40% of the project.
And maintenance, y'all take care of maintenance for 7 years, right?
yeah, there's for the courthouse, there will be a 7-year material and labor warranty. So if anything goes out, we handle that. There's a number, you call it, we handle it. For the jail, half of it, the sheriff's office, the fixtures we'll use is actually, all the interior is 7 years warranty, labor and material. And then the exterior fixtures are 10-year warranty. So I mean, sir, you're right. Anything you can do cheaper, right? But there's a reason why it's cheaper. And this is a really, really comprehensive program. Again, it's 100% turnkey, meaning we handle the material, we handle the labor. Our crews, all they do is change out light bulbs in this program. So they're very good at what they do. The warranty, the incentive, all of that.
So is this changing out just, is it changing out fixtures? What else, what else involved?
Yeah, so for here, because you've already changed out to T8s and also 2 bulbs, it's, well, let me say it this way. There's basically 2 options you can do. You can change out the bulbs and the ballast. So there's more than just taking out the bulbs. There's a ballast that is, you have to be an electrician to.
So what's the difference in the ballast for the new light bulbs and the old light bulbs?
It's called it's actually an LED driver. It's the same concept, just newer technology. So that's the option one. And actually, there's a sample. I mean, it looks just like a T8, but it's actually LED. A little more cost effective, and but it uses a little bit more electricity. So again, because of you're already pretty efficient, we would use that for here. In the jail, there's special. They call them vandal-proof fixtures, right? That because it's a jail, they won't break if things hit them, things like that. Those are we have to use those in there as well, just because to get brand new vandal-proof fixtures are crazy expensive. So, and then in the sheriff's office, the second option would be to use what they call a retrofit kit, and that is essentially a brand new fixture, but they take out the lens, the bulbs, everything except the existing pan. And it clips in. So it saves money on labor as well as material, but you get a look of a brand new fixture. I ran the numbers for here to see if it would make sense. But again, because there's the savings is dependent on how much energy you're saving, and then also the incentive, it jumps the payback from about 3.5 years to 7 or 8. So I think it behooves the county, it'd be worth y'all's money to just go with the LED tubes and drivers.
Are there other counties or entities that are involved yet?
Yeah, absolutely. We haven't done a whole lot with counties, to be honest, but we've done quite a number of school districts. Over the last 3 years, we've done over 400 projects. So again, our actual, the program is designed for small businesses. So most of the projects we're doing, it's, small retailers, gas stations, office buildings, again, school districts and smaller counties. I'm trying to think if we've done any county buildings, but I know Scurry County is the first that we've really engaged at looking, doing a comprehensive plan, looking at all your facilities, et cetera.
So all in all, we know the savings is paid for this project. No taxpayer money.
No taxpayer money.
Well,
The bill that you pay, each bill being, say, $600 a month for the court.
So there won't need to be another budget line item or anything like that. To simplify this, to kind of give you an idea, you really have 3 options. You can leave it just like it is, and you can pay the exact same amount that you're already paying to whoever your provider is, if it's TXU or whoever, and part of that goes to Encore. You can continue to do that. You can hire another contractor or use your own people and pay to have everything done. You could do that. But you're still going to spend a whole lot of money getting that done. Or you can let us do it, still pay the exact same amount, pay anything extra, and get the lights for free. I can't say that we're doing it for free, but I can say that it doesn't cost you anything, because you're going to spend the money no matter what, because you're either going to pay.
It's also 5 years, isn't it?
Huh? 7 years.
7 years.
And that includes labor and material. Yes, ma'am.
So if anything went wrong, all they have to do is call you. So that's a big thing.
Yeah.
No more hiring another
Mhm.
electrician.
Right.
And that your investment, because it pays for itself in 3.5 years, you're covered. And then,
Sounds really good.
You have another
Exactly.
3.5 years of warranty on the interior, and then even further for the exterior.
Yes, sir. That warranty stays in place even when the 42-month term is done.
Okay.
It sounds really, I don't see downfall, I just have a quick question as to, what is the price, if you would just purchase the bulb outright? Versus what is the price going to be through this program? Is the price inflated to cover the, basically the 3-year payout and that kind of thing?
I
How
would think,
much, what percentage is it?
yeah, it's really hard to give you an exact answer because you could get 4 different contractors and they'll give you 4 different prices. The biggest reason, and the biggest reason there's variety in cost is because there's a lot of different LEDs and a lot that are really bad quality and a lot that are really good. So again, you could go out and get really cheap LEDs, but we actually,
If they would buy the, 1 unit from you, what is the purchase price flat out versus what's it gonna cost per bulb over the 3.5 years?
but I only have the total cost.
Okay.
When we do the audit, everything is in here. And so what's nice about the program is at the very beginning, Encore worked with the contractors, they worked with our suppliers, and they've got a set price on everything. And the reason they did that is to, number one, make sure there's a good quality fixture. Because as I mentioned, unfortunately, we get a lot of calls and we said, hey, we just paid all this money, but the bulbs are already going out and they're not wanting to do the warranty. That's what happens, when you pay the leak. So, but kind of getting back to your question, we plug everything in here and then it just plops out the total price. We could look at the total price and divide it by 3,000, I guess. But I don't have a per bulb basis as of now. But again, there's I think it's about 3,000 fixtures for this entire project. So a third of that, maybe 2/3 of that is going to be replacing bulbs. So you times that by 4. So that ends up being 12,000 bulbs. I would think the incentive too helps a ton. So I would say it's at least comparable, if not better pricing.
I would think it'd be better when you're buying 12,000 bulbs.
Right.
Versus
Encore
That's
is involved.
very true, yeah.
And they're paying their money out, you know that they're going to get the best deal with the best product.
Yeah.
And our company, we're based in Texas, or excuse me, my program is based in Texas, but we have 17 other programs across the country, and we do about 7,000 projects a year. So we leverage, all of our programs to get the best pricing.
And like I told you when we first met, I'm a skeptic.
Right.
I told them I'm a skeptic. If it looks too good to be true, it usually is. They have contracts and all in place, and so with Encore backing, that takes some of the skepticism out for me. So there are some contractual questions that we would have.
Absolutely.
But other than that, I like it. So that's where I stand.
You get the upgrade for not spending taxpayer money.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. That is the biggest.
Especially since we're going to have
Right.
Oh, I think it sounds good if it works.
It worked last time very well.
I was gonna say, yeah. It's the exact same concept and program that you already did. You've seen the savings. It's just newer technology. Yes, ma'am.
I was wanting to address the.
Oh, sorry, excuse me.
Yes, ma'am.
Could I suggest, since there's no contracts and stuff gonna be discussed, that y'all table this so we can move on to the other items on the agenda that were skipped over? It's gonna be lunchtime and you're gonna probably call a recession, get into executive session, and everybody's gonna have to come back after lunch. So,
Thank you. Well, what are your thoughts on this?
Judge, I make a motion that we go forward, and that we allow our county attorney to look at any contracts that they're going to present, and that we allow you to sign the contract once that it's finalized and the county attorney feels good about it.
All right, all in favor? Okay. Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Danny. Appreciate it. Danny, thank you.
Yeah. All right, we'll move on to Hermley Waterworks. So we have several people that wanted to speak. Did you have I came in before the meeting and suggested a speaker for the group. Is there anybody that was chosen to be the speaker for the group?
I think both of us mostly, but there are gonna be other questions.
Sure.
I mean, we've tried to cover as much. I'm Shereen Digby, I'm the one who told you the other day.
Yes, ma'am.
We've had, like I said, several questions. One of mine was, why were we not made aware that we were joining the Texas Rural Water Association? I mean, I tried to get on that. You've got to go in and become a member to even see what it's about. And I wasn't impressed with that. I like to look and Google stuff and see, I've managed to Google some of the other stuff you sent, and this, I was gonna have to be a member or join.
Sure.
I wasn't, I'm like, I don't even know what this is. How do I know I wanna join?
Okay. They are basically a go-between for water utilities and TCEQ. So our first contact with them was several months ago. They contacted Jim, and they said, this is what TCEQ says you have to do. This is where you stand. And so they came in and guided us in a lot of different directions on what needed to be done. And they've helped several times since then without us being a member. So it's beneficial because they can protect us and y'all.
Stay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
We have a lot of questions floating around, but one of the biggest ones we had is, what if we choose not to sign the retail agreement that was sent?
That is actually required by TCEQ.
Okay.
So
That's what I read.
yes, ma'am.
But we didn't know about whether we were still gonna have to sign as long as we were existing.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, we like
And
I
I
said, that
understand that's more to cover us, but
Mhm.
on the flow back.
The
it's
back
got all
flow,
this
yes, ma'am.
question.
Okay.
All right, on this flow back, who's going to have to do, not every household needs a
No.
flow back.
On the backflow device, and I've got some experience with this, so I kind of know what I'm talking about. So if you have a water well and city water,
Now, I
permanent
understood
water
that.
attached, you have to have it to protect.
So people
water
that are
system.
strictly on your water and they're not filling up, say, farming tanks or
Right.
dirt stock tank, they ain't got nothing to worry about.
Right. No, the
Nothing's
typical
really going to
home is
change.
not going to have to worry about a backflow device.
Okay. Go ahead, Mary.
We would like to know if we can, receive at least a 90-day notice of any change made to what we are,
Instead of getting it after the fact.
yeah, after
Sure.
the
Once
fact.
we got the packets,
The public notice.
after,
Public
yes,
notice.
and
Yeah.
that way, I mean, what you could have done was sent this and says, this will be on the agenda on such and such day, if you'd like to come and discuss it.
Sure.
Because up until that point, it had pretty much been, we need a person to come and check the meters.
Sure.
And that's
There's-
what y'all had been, so we got complacent, yes, we weren't watching your newspaper. And I'll be honest, most people in Hermley are doing Hermley stuff, they're not really watching.
Absolutely, I completely understand.
And then we get all this and we're like, what is the deal?
Sure.
You know, as far as who you've hired to do, I don't think anybody's got any complaints with Garrett.
Okay.
But is he gonna go to school and learn how to check that water
That's one of the
and
requirements.
treat it?
Yes, ma'am. That is one of the requirements. He is
Okay.
going to do that. And we do have some assistance. It's not just Gary out there doing it by himself. For the last couple of months, we've had some assistance from the city. They've helped us kind of get through this.
Right, because we know that there was 3 boiled notices that should have probably been sent out and weren't. You know, there's some things that have happened
Mhm.
between that
We're
somebody could have gotten in trouble for, but like I said, we kind of been patient out there because we know. But it's always been precinct 4, and usually you have somebody that comes and tells people.
sure. And it's not supposed to have been just precinct 4. That was one of the things that came from TCEQ through Texas Rural Water Association, that we should really have a board. We were the only ones that didn't have a board, is that correct?
One more.
One other place in the state of Texas that didn't have a board.
We did have a board years
So-
ago and it got disbanded.
Sure. So that's kind of where that's coming
Okay.
from. And as far as the late notice and all of that, we're trying to catch up and we're trying to do it as quickly as we could. And I apologize to the community of Hermleigh for not giving specific type of notice out there. I had hoped that putting it in the paper and putting it on the webpage would have been enough. So,
Needs to be put in the bill.
yes, ma'am.
Notice in the
Sure.
bill.
Or here's another suggestion. You have a board
Mhm.
and you've made them the water board.
Yes, ma'am.
Why not put somebody from Hermleigh on that board? So that when you, yeah, have them
Why
all
Ira
in
and
there.
Snyder? And I know that was mentioned, but why Ira and Snyder?
Well, just everybody that pay the water bill is represented besides
Right.
just their commission.
No, this is specific, Hermleigh is
Hermleigh,
one.
it's only Hermleigh water.
only
It's
water.
not
Yes.
Ira, Union
And how
Savannah, or
hard would
Snyder.
it be to have somebody else attached just strictly to, not the commissioners, but the Hermleigh Water Board?
I can
part of
certainly
it?
look into that, and if it's a viable possibility, then yes, we could.
Because then, word of mouth is gonna travel in Hermleigh Bay a
Sure.
whole lot faster, and you know, several people.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, we don't read a newspaper, we just go around and tell
Sure.
each other. Did you know they were going to do this? And it can get out of hand real quick, and that's kind of what,
Sure.
you had another question?
One of the questions we had was, say, does the money in our Hermleigh Waterworks fund stay or does it get absorbed in the others?
No,
How do
it
we pay for
stays.
repairs?
That is Hermleigh's
That's
water.
Hermleigh water.
Hermleigh water's money.
So
And it
we're,
only goes,
did you have another one? That we haven't hit yet?
We're talking about the digital meters. We had heard about or read about.
Yes.
It was
What
touched
is
on.
this on? Yes.
okay. That's, instead of spending a large amount of money on replacing all the meters out there, we're looking at grants to do that.
Okay, because see, that was another,
Mhm.
okay, y'all probably had a little dealings with Hermleigh Water. It's a mess. And none of us want to pay up our bill to pay for it's working. That's basically, most of the main pipes have been replaced.
Mhm.
And there's like,
Well,
okay, for instance, my son's business,
Mhm.
he's got 2 meters, they're both in his yard.
Okay.
He locks the yard every night,
Right,
you know, and it's gonna have to be open for y'all.
sure.
My other son, his meter and my meter are in his yard.
Mhm.
He has 2 pits. What we've always done before is whoever's checking the water either got me at the office
Mhm.
or called my son. We go hold the dog or make sure it's not there.
Mhm.
We're not getting rid of his dog
No.
because, you know, we're not incorporated, and we do have dogs, but at least his are confined to the yard, you know. I just want to know, I wanna make sure that we're not gonna get somebody in there telling us, you gotta do this and you gotta do that.
Not right now, no.
Okay.
That's something that, the newer meters, the meters that are there right now.
But you are gonna get a grant.
Yes,
try to get a
ma'am,
grant
we're
to
not,
pay for that.
that's what we're hoping
Okay,
to
if
do.
you do that, will it also pay for like you to move the meters?
Yes, ma'am, yes. Now, yes,
Because that's gonna be a cost to incur from him
absolutely.
if he'll have
Yes,
to
and all
move
those meters
his
should be
pipes.
outside of the property line, so that
Exactly,
they
but
shouldn't have
that'll
to
be,
get into the
you know,
property.
it's not costing him anything to go unlock the gate and let the
Right.
readers in, which they usually do on a weekly.
Sure,
We had to help them find it and all that, but
right,
anyway, but it's gonna incur a cost to move all that.
absolutely.
And I don't think it should be the people that have been on the water for this amount of time.
I agree with that. I think that the grant should cover that.
Okay, because like I said, things get out of hand when
Sure.
we're not notified or, you know, we're not understanding.
Sure.
Cause it made it sound like we were gonna incur the cost.
No. And that's something that I have spoken about a little bit. It's not anything that's put in place yet.
Okay.
Still looking for grants. I know there's grants out there, so, and it's not
Chloe
gonna happen
did
in a
really
couple of
well
months.
because she got the grant for the, you know.
Yes, ma'am.
She did
Ira just got a
really well
big
with
grant.
that.
They're about to do some big things, so I'm gonna get with them and find out where they got their grant and kind
Right.
of trace that back, so.
You said that all the meters should be outside the property line?
Should be, yes, sir. I know they're not. I know they're not right now, but, they should be. That way, whoever's reading the meters doesn't have to get into your property to, you know, deal with dogs or anything like that.
So if you get the grant, then you'll move them all out. But
Yes, ma'am.
until then, they're gonna
Until then,
stay
it's gonna
just
remain
like they
just
are
like it
in
is.
Reed.
Yes, ma'am.
I think
Unless the
Gary
meter,
will do real well with everything.
yes, ma'am. Now, if a meter needs to be replaced, he's gonna use current meters that we have, that type of meter. But, if it comes to the point where we get the grant, then we'll do the meter exchange.
Okay, so then we wouldn't have to, but I was gonna suggest phasing it in too, so
Sure.
if new house came in or
Sure.
something.
Yeah, that's a possibility too. Yeah. But I think it'd be best if we did them all at once, instead of one here and one there.
Okay, once you do that, I don't know exactly how those digital meters work. Will you be able to read them here?
At one location, yes, ma'am. Now, if there's an issue, then one's not reading for
So
whatever reason.
basically, you'll just need a part-time,
I don't think it's gonna be a part-time job because there's so much more to just reading the meters. And I've been finding that out recently. So there's a lot to it instead of just reading meters.
That's all my questions. Does anybody else have any of those?
Yes, sir.
There's no way y'all can do it all at once.
No,
You're gonna put all the people that are running out of water. If you do it all at once.
no. It wouldn't be, it would be one meter at a time, but, you know, of course you get the grant and then you go one house do the meter, the next house do the meter. No, the main water lines are in place, so that's not an issue. There's a few places, I think, that it has an older water line that need to be replaced, but overall, that's not.
yeah, right, we've had a hole in front of one house for 3 months now, waiting on a meter. And I don't know what the deal is with it, but there's a hole.
Okay, might talk to Gary. I don't know, I can get you his
I
number.
don't
I don't know the
what's
situation.
going on with it, but.
But as far as the meters being outside the property, you can start now with any meters you have to put in, make sure they're in
Absolutely.
the proper place. So
Correct.
You don't have to go back. and
Correct.
Dig their yard up.
Right, and that's what happened on the one that we installed the other day. We made sure it was outside the property.
The meters that are inside the property,
Yes, sir.
they're gonna be moved outside the property.
That's
Is
what
the
he
county
said,
gonna be responsible for that line?
from where
be
it is now
extended?
to,
That's what we were discussing, yes, sir. It would be, the part of the grant process. If we get
Okay.
the grant, that's
Because we were
gonna be,
responsible for the line
you are
to
responsible from,
that meter.
yes, sir, you are responsible to that meter. Now, if we do the grant and we replace those meters, there is gonna, if they have to be moved, we're gonna incorporate that into the grant.
Okay.
yes, because I think that was a big fear.
Sure.
It was the cost
Sure.
that it was gonna be. That and flow backs and the cost of putting those in. So
Right.
Unless it's, doesn't affect us, then we won't have to worry about it.
Sure.
Anybody else?
About signing the contract.
We did sign, we just discussed it. Yeah, we're gonna, it's required by state. Yeah,
What we want is the best possible water supply system for you, that we can get. It's gonna take some money to get where we need to be. I made a list of some of the, requirements from TCEQ. Water system regulations, which I think we sent out, customer service agreement, a drought contingency plan, a water conservation plan, emergency preparedness plan, a monitoring plan.
that brings up another question.
Okay.
The fire hydrants out there, is there gonna be somebody to check those?
Yes, ma'am, we have a fire hydrant maintenance plan that we have to do, and
Okay.
that has to be
Yes,
done.
because that hasn't been done in a very long time.
We're gonna start it.
Is there?
Well,
It's
since
part of what
Jackie
Gary
was
has
on,
to do.
since Jackie Dawn was on there, he did it.
Sure, yeah, and that's one thing that Gary is gonna be required to do. Yes,
Is there
sir.
gonna be more fire hydrants put out in the city?
I don't know, that hadn't been discussed at this point.
Sure help on the insurance policy.
Sure, but if it looks like that's something we need to do, then, we'll have to look at that. Right now, we're just trying to get moving forward, and that's something that will probably come up in the next year or two. So, I believe it does help on the insurance policy.
The water bill will not go up when you install the meters because it's a grant, right?
Correct. Yeah. No, the rates would not be increased from where they are just because of that.
We've had a pretty substantial rate increase technically.
Sure.
And we have a lot of people out there that are living on fixed incomes,
Mhm.
or they're living at or below poverty rate.
Mhm.
You just gotta drive around and tell that.
Sure.
Is there some way we can hold this rate for a while now?
You mean the
The new rate.
The new rate, yes.
keep it from going into effect?
No,
Right.
Going up and
don't
Oh,
raise
new
it
rate?
again for a good long while, because let these people adjust.
Sure.
Because that was, we've had
Sure.
like 2 pretty substantial rate
Sure.
increases just, in the last few
I
months.
understand what you're saying. I don't see it going up for a while, honestly. This was kind of bring us up to,
Right, I understood why you did it,
Sure.
but at the same time, like I said, those people, $15 to a little old lady living alone,
understand
that's
that.
quite a few groceries,
sure.
you know?
Yeah, I don't
And some of
see,
these people aren't getting much on their social security.
right, I don't anticipate that happening. I think this kind of brought us in line with
Okay,
where we need to
so
be.
we're looking at just things kind of just going wrong right now.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yes, see, if you'll just please let us
Absolutely.
know
I tell
things
you what, on the
sooner.
next, if anything major happens in the future, what I'll do is I'll call town hall. I'll meet y'all out there at the
Great.
community center
Yeah.
and we'll discuss it.
Yes, that would be great, because most of the time, that's all we want, if we
Sure.
just have questions,
Sure. I understand.
we,
Also, on the county website, we now have a Hermley Waterworks link on there with Gary Ash's
Yes, I
phone
seen it.
number and the agreement on there.
Right.
We can also post anything on there pertaining to Hermley Waterworks.
Sure.
yes, but there are lots of people in
Right, they
Illinois
don't
that
have the internet.
Sure.
don't do phones and don't do computers. That's why I said, if nothing else,
Mhm.
if you call some of us,
Sure.
even the school,
Mhm.
and tell them to start getting the word out. That's our centerpiece there
Sure.
in Hermley, is the school. Tell them to start letting people know.
Okay.
Uh,
Like I said, this was, let's try to hurry up and get this
Right.
done as quick as we can. We had TCEQ and EPA on our backs.
I noticed at the
I'm sure.
post office pinned up there.
Sure.
Most people, everybody, a lot of them go and get their mail there. They'll see things and then they can, like I said, best way to get on Hermley is,
Okay, well, when we post our agendas, I don't mind, for the Hermlin Water, I don't mind taking it out there and posting it somewhere.
that would be great.
So
I
that way
don't know
you'll
if you
have
can
some
do it at the
information.
post office, they have a stick deal.
Yes,
That
ma'am.
might be
I'll
the
do that
best
for this.
place to put it.
Sure.
Like I said, there's most everybody, there's,
Right.
the majority of people go in there.
Sure, and we're gonna have to have some meetings because all of these all these plans that we have to have in place.
Exactly. That's why I was wondering if somebody couldn't be picked to be on the board to come to those specific meetings.
Sure.
Then we'd know, and that person could let everybody know, calm down, it's just this.
Right, okay, yeah, I can check into that and see if we can do that.
Cause I had kind of checked into the, contract and had found out it was
Sure.
what it was and where it was from, but,
Yes, ma'am.
and then that eased that a whole lot.
Sure.
Because the way it sounded, y'all were just gonna be able to trot on our property and,
Right.
it sounds pretty like intrusive almost.
Sure, I understand. Yeah,
And
and,
I don't know about anybody else, but I'm not into people being intrusive on my property.
I agree.
And I'm sure you're not either.
Right.
So I think that's all we were wanting is to be
Okay.
sure that we're included. If
Okay,
it's gonna pertain to us, include us.
I can do that. We can do that.
That's a
We can do
big,
that.
yes, that's a big thing.
Okay.
It don't seem like a big thing, but
No,
trust
it
me,
is, it
as you
is.
see, there are quite a few here
Absolutely.
and there's quite a few more that couldn't be here because of work.
Sure.
So it could.
Well, I
be-
hope they're watching.
It's against me at your church. If they get upset out there, they can come see
Sure.
me.
That's not a problem, that's not a problem. And I like having, the back and forth on it, so.
Well,
Also, I like to see equipment. We don't, every time we have a leak out there, we don't have any kind of equipment
I
going out
agree.
there trying to dig it out.
Yes, and
I
that.
mean, I had a
that is-
leak here a while back,
Mhm.
took them 3 days. We didn't have water for 3 days because that guy was digging by hand. And I own part of the company here in town, so, you know, I volunteered to take a backhoe out there. Didn't think y'all a bill or anything. I said, I'll do it, because, I mean, I saw that guy digging. Also, I even called her son.
Billy Digby,
Yeah.
I mean,
he's done it before for y'all.
Okay,
Yeah.
and that's what we're working on as
And
well.
he's
So,
usually got something right around there because they are out there.
and I didn't know who
Usually
to
has
talk
something out
to
there.
about getting equipment out there. I mean, I don't know if you're in charge of it or what, but, you know, we don't have any kind of equipment out
right,
there to do
and
that.
we're working on that, slowly but surely. That's a major issue, is if he has a leak, how's he handle it? So, and we are definitely working on that.
And just like I said, I don't mind doing it. I mean,
Sure.
we know everybody out there at Hernley, but
Mhm.
it's just, the point is trying to get a piece of equipment out there.
Sure. Yeah, and we've got some options now, and if you have anything Gary is the man out there. He's the one who's handling everything. So he's the department head. So any issues?
Yes,
or
and I
any
think we
questions?
treat our elderly people with utmost respect, and that we appreciate, because
Good.
don't like to have them talk to ugly.
I agree. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I've been on Union Fluvanna Water, and as far as the board members, I think the board needs to be all payers of Hermley water works. The people that pay the bills, because they know what they need and they can get together as a group. If you're on Union, Fluvanna, or IRA, either one, you've got to be a paying member to be on the board.
Sure.
They
And
know what they need.
They
better
are
than
not
y'all
owned.
five.
They are not owned by the county, though.
Well, I know, but y'all
This
still
one
have the
is.
oversight over the money, but they shouldn't have the
How
board.
did we ever get to be owned by the county?
Good question.
Because we were our own entity,
Sure.
and we had
Until
our own people
1955.
out there taking the money and taking care of stuff. How did it just
And
ever happen?
as far as the board after the fact, how the county ended up with the board, that board dissolving, I have no idea. But in June of 1955, wasn't it? There was an election to unincorporate, I guess, and it passed by a vote of 67 to 55, 12 votes difference. And so city of township of Hernley was no more after that. So you had a water system with no owner. So the county graciously stepped in and took ownership.
I mean, I moved out there in 1983,
Mhm.
and everything was being handled there.
Sure. And as far as that part of it, I'm not sure, but I do know that ownership of it has been the county since 1955.
Is IRA incorporated?
I don't believe so.
Then how is it that they're not?
They buy water from the city of Snyder, and so does Union Fluvanna. And so they
So
do,
because we have our own water out there, that's how it all,
yes, ma'am, it is its own system completely. The wells out there.
we are
provide
our
water.
own breed. No doubt about that.
Yes.
Okay, I guess it's.
All right. Any
Is
further questions?
everybody okay?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I've heard, like I said, I don't live in Hermley, but I'm spending a great amount of time there. So
Sure.
I'm kind of hearing and seeing what's going on. And obviously this water issue has been massive out
Sure.
there. So this new gentleman that was hired, Gary, I hear people are happy with him.
Sure.
Who hires him? Who appoints? Does the board
Yes, sir.
hire him? So did the board hire the previous person? Does the board hire everybody associated with the water?
From this point on,
Previous first.
If we become a board, that's when we hire. I hired the man before that.
You hired the man before that. And Jackie Don Ramish was before that. Did the board hire him as well?
no, this board is brand new.
This board is brand new. Okay, I was just
Sure.
trying to understand.
Sure.
Who's on this board now?
The Commissioners Court.
Okay. I see.
Okay, that all on that? Okay. Hernley Community Center, you had questions about that?
Yes, we do not want to lose that community
That
center.
is not happening.
Okay, because we need that, we use it, in 1 month, we fed 7 families out of that community center that had lost family.
Okay.
They had no back where else to go.
Sure.
We had a lady with the fire, and we were able to put her up in there until she got another house. We have people that get, the roads freeze up out there, the highway, there's people stranded at Awesome. Many times we've opened that up for them.
There was
Just
one
to have a
Christmas-
warm
there was
place to
Christmas
stay.
one Christmas where people were stranded on the road, and about
Yes.
20 of them stayed in the community.
Yes, you know, it does, not only for the community to rent but it helps people
Absolutely.
in need, and we
Right.
need and utilize that. And grading, well, I know you can't say, but the people that handle it has done an exceptional job. She's put money out of her own pocket to make sure there's things in there. You go in there, it's clean. We have utensils. There's paper towels. There's stuff to clean it with when you're done. It has trash cans ready for us, the doors open. It's nice to be able to, at graduation, I had so much going on. It was nice to be able just to walk in, have everything we needed there and go.
Sure.
And you don't get that at many other places.
Well, I'll tell you this. I don't believe anything's gonna change with Herman Community Center.
Okay.
Okay.
Because we do utilize that
I
a
understand that.
lot.
Yeah, the
The
only
churches
reason,
used it.
the only reason any of the others were closed was because that they became unusable. This one is still usable, so, and it's still being used on a regular basis, so no talk
And
has
I
ever
can
come up
almost
about.
guarantee you that if something really went wrong with it,
Mhm.
I realize y'all have to fix a certain amount of it, but I'm sure you could get some volunteers.
Sure.
We have
to help.
volunteered before,
Yeah.
we have had.
You know, and
Yeah.
it's been,
Sure.
thanks to her, it's been painted.
Mhm.
And she's really put the effort and time into it. And like I said, it's utilized by many things.
Absolutely, yeah, and I've
And
spoke
when
to her
you're-
today and asked her to let me know if she needs anything on that. She doesn't need to be painted by herself.
No,
Scraping the glue off the
It's
floor.
scraping
I
the
agree with
glue
that.
off the floor,
Yes.
yes,
So,
she's done a lot.
right, so nothing's gonna change at Herman.
Good, okay, that's another.
Okay.
Little things, but we
Absolutely.
need it.
Sure.
Yeah, y'all have to find another water office somewhere else.
All right, is there anything else on
I
that?
think that's it.
All right.
Better communication.
Absolutely, and I'm gonna work on that. I apologize for the poor communication, that was on me, and I will fix that from this point on. Okay, let's go to Senate Bill 354, effective immediately, which is versus the requirement that Commissioners Court approve all routine office expenditures, including payroll for disbursement. I assume y'all know what that means.
Yes.
We don't have to,
Actually, technically,
Wait to pay the
wait to pay the bills, we can
Normal
just pay the
bills.
bills.
There are, I listed out the specific ones because I don't feel comfortable with the order that was sent out. Because my office still has to verify and ratify the payments and authorize them. And I feel that because of the statute says that the court members are supposed to verify and ratify as well prior to payment being sent out. This will put just the small fees that are monthly, like the utilities and such, that are every month recurring. And the payroll, where we don't have to meet specifically to approve payroll all the time. But this will allow us to be able to do that. Y'all will still see the invoices come up on the Commissioner's Court report that Misty sends to all of y'all through your email, and that I presented a report. But this, because of the Senate bill that passed, allows us to be able to do that.
Judge, I make a motion that we pass the resolution, yes, thank you. So that we don't have to worry about routine bills, having to have Commissioner's Court just to pay. Or pay.
All in favor?
Do you have an original that you can sign and pass around to her? Because I need all of y'all's signatures on there, as well as Melanie.
Was looking for that now.
I don't have one at all.
Okay, while we're doing that, court to discuss and consider giving approval of Jason Tyler, EMS Director, to submit specs and purchase first responder vehicle and ambulance. All right, he has that reserve fund. I think that's his money. He needs approval to access those funds, get a new ambulance and a new, first responder vehicle.
Well, there's one thing I want, is a good ambulance service.
I agree.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I don't want him having to call a mechanic and say, we need to go here, but won't run.
Sure.
So, give Jason the right to access his funds for ambulance.
Okay. All in favor? Very good. All right. That is all of those, I believe. Well, line item transfers and we still need to do those. Thank y'all for coming. We appreciate y'all. Yes, sir. Okay.
Go ahead or wait?
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank y'all.
Thank you. Appreciate y'all coming.
Okay. One on transfers, I have JP one autopsy expense, 3,000 out of equipment and both of our equipment lines to cover for the autopsies because those have increased this time. The gel from, it's going into the jail infirmary out of the health unit infirmary line. Since the health unit is no longer overseeing the jail, there is a request in the 4,137 that was allotted in the budget for that.
Okay.
The treasurer's office, education and training, 3,500 out of her maintenance agreements to reimburse for deputy and herself for the investment schooling. And the treasurer is going to attend post-legislative school.
Okay.
The last one on transfer that I show is precinct 1, building and ground, 6,900 out of road material and construction to insulate the precinct 1 shop. That's the last line on transfer. And then I have a budget amendment for HAVA funds going into her election expense HAVA funds line, 1653. And the money that's in the HAVA reserve can't be used for anything but that. So.
Sure.
Judge, I make a motion we approve line item transfers and budget amendments as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? All right. Accounts payable?
Total accounts payable is 302,388.18 plus a semi-monthly and bi-weekly payroll. There's also a Citibank check that will be printed since she gets it all in from everybody. But it's $7,027.17. And then there's bi-weekly and semi-monthly payroll of $596,923.42. And that's it.
Judge, I make a motion that we approve accounts payable.
Second.
All in favor?
All that's left is executive session, correct?
Correct.
Gotta have an executive session.
Sure. I'm gonna see if I can speak to Lisa really quick.
So the rest of us can leave.
Yes, ma'am. Except Erica. Erica gets to sit in the hot seat.
11:49.
Bet it goes quick.
Whatever your phone has.
Mine's off.
Okay.
Have a good one, sir.
Okay.
I'll leave it laying there, but it's off.
All right.
You need to rig up a maintainer motorboat. Some of them out east of Hermley have been holding water for a while. But then we never had that much water either. I know. I had 2 days I couldn't even get to my.
Can I say I'm proud of you today, Greg?
Well, what I do?
You did dissolve the LGC. I don't know if they can do anything with it or not, but I hope they can.
And the thing about it is, all they gotta do is turn around and get